Aha, samo nek gleda. Ok, sad ću ja nazvati i reći da mi... Krećemo, dobro? Krećemo i da ona samo gleda, ništa ne dira, dobro? I da se to fakat može s jednim uhom slušati vamo, s drugim uhom tamo.
Dobro, i da...
Tak je, to je isto.
Da. I druga stvar, da... Ako treba nekome šerat link, to bude ona napravila ili...
A ona mora vzeti te linke tu gore i copy-paste.
Jako se slabo čujemo tu, meni prekida.
Ja nemam uopće signala tu dole.
Ja imam.
Ne znam.
Ne, neću, zovem Italiju. Evo, uopće ne budem nazvati.
Super. Test 1, 2. Evo, blizu na mikrofon. Govorim. Aha, sad sam si se... Idemo na mikrofon, sad smo govorili cijelo vrijeme. Možda stišano, nije nastišano na ovome. Nije. Ti pogledaj tamo signale dolaze. Ha? Dobro. Sidni se, hoćeš maknuti slušalice ovo. Te slušalice bolje. Aha, jesam se. Evo, sad budem cijelo vrijeme govoriti na mikrofon govorim da se proba čuti. 1, 2, test 7, 8, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 21, dolazi zvuk, ne dolazi zvuk, evo sad dolazim na video tek na kanal. Jako slabo, hoćeš da još pojačam to? Jer mogu ja to pojačati? Da čujemo sad. Da li sad bolje? Sam da ne dođe. To tako jako sad to tu govorim. Test 1, 2. Aha, budem si ja tu slušalice.
Ide sad bolje.
Još dnijem?
Da.
Ovo je ti ideva, da.
To mora biti jače.
Da, slušalice. E sad, da li sad bolje? Se čuje sad? Test 1, 2. Dolazim, da li je, test. A tu malo bio već. A to bu dobro, ha?
Ja bi
još pojačao. Može. Ok, to je to. Dobro.
Do you have some butter here or something?
Yeah, we have a
First time in Croatia.
slobodno stišaš nešto. Hej?
Imaš Skype nekako?
Skype? Pa imam, ali imaš...
Ne, tu nemam ništa se
Onda li imam uopće tu Skype na mobitelu. Evo, ali ti ne znam. Kako je? Nemam uopće kako. Imaš mail?
Joj, tu nemam mail. Kako to reći?
Facebook.
To se bude poslije moglo gledati, to bude snimano.
Da.
Sve. Dobro, pa
Ne, dobro, ne.
Ne treba. Pa idem, na svojem budem prvo.
Da, pa imaš na kompu Skype.
Yes. Make them right in the furnace station.
Evo biti tu si pogledaj, taj live.
Što je tvoja oprema za streaming?
Nismo dogovorili, kao i jednostavno, ja sam neke moral napravio. Da, ja sam predložio.
Ne da. Ja inače to mogu izvati. Ne da. Ovo je problematično.
Kaj je ovo?
Ovo je?
Ovo je dobro, crno. Evo, vidite sve. Da. To. To je to. Savršeno. I sad, da, Jolko Šljaka. Super. Ne, meni ne. Ne. Znači, tam je vam ima jedan gdje je hrvatski, gdje je... Hrvatski, gledaj, kad ne uspiju shvatiti ga. Ima li hrvatski? Na YouTube isto zbog.
Ima.
Is it okay? Okay. Shall we stay around some specific area, or you will move? Yeah. Oh no? Hello, prova. Okay, good. Good. I think we could start. Okay. Good. Very happy to see you today. Today we're going to have a WATIFY matchmaking event, as we call it. We're going to talk about the WATIFY campaign, so you understand what it is a little bit later. Today's event title is Automation and Robotics in Green Manufacturing. It's a very specific title, but also not that much, in the sense that if you think about that, when you think about automation and robotics, well, one of the main goals of automation and robotics is probably the one of helping manufacturing to save resources, right? So that goes together. And the Greenomed initiative, which we have a representative today, and the Chamber of Commerce of Varaždin, are fully involved in the Greenomed initiative, which is an Interreg initiative sponsored by the European Union, European Commission. So these all go together, and that is why we are here today. And I hope you will have a fruitful discussion also afterward during the real matchmaking event, when you can talk bilaterally about possibility of cooperation and technology-specific issues that you want to address between you. So I don't take longer. I would like to invite on stage Dragutin Glozinic, who is the president of the Chamber of Economy of Varaždin. And if you would like to have 5 minutes for us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and on behalf of Croatian Chamber of Economy, I would like to greet you, and I would first and foremost like to greet our guests from abroad and our partners who will give their presentations today, and all entrepreneurs who are here today. Our Chamber of Economy in Varaždin is currently leading 6 different projects, from dual education and transfer and technology to project in the area of tourism. Why do we think that this is important? After this conference, we will introduce our entrepreneurs with this specific project, and we have already established several contacts and collaboration with companies, and suggested companies that they solve or resolve their technological issues on the levels that already have solutions for that. The situation in our county is currently low cumulative, on a low cumulative level, and we have to maintain it and keep it going. But we also have to try to encourage companies that use higher technologies to implement these on all levels. This is the importance of today's conference, and we do hope that our entrepreneurs today will take advantage and use this opportunity, and that some companies with actual problems will be able to resolve them on the spot. So once again, welcome to all our guests from abroad and everybody present here, and I wish everyone a successful working day today. And my praises to the lady who pronounced our name, the name of our city. It was okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you. So that we have received the official opening and welcoming. I think it's now time to explain to you a bit more about WATIFY and what the campaign is about. So, one second. So the WATIFY campaign. The WATIFY campaign is, as I was saying, an awareness-raising campaign. It's commissioned by the European Commission. And it's about transformation of European industry. It's about modernizing the European industry, and it focuses on both digital and key enabling technologies. They go hand in hand, and it's very difficult to split them. The key enabling technologies is a series of 6 technology, among them photonics or robotics, and so the campaign focuses on one of the most important, if not the most important part of industry and actors, which are SMEs. So these are the main key components that we have to keep in mind when we think about WATIFY, which the name derives from, well, what if I do or what if I don't do? And so in that sense, in that respect, it aims at raising awareness of the challenges, but also the benefits of changing your business models towards more, well, innovative ones, say. The campaign goes around 3 pillars, as I would always say. The big part, the most challenging part, is the 240 awareness events that we have planned. So it's not just us going, it's basically us going to conferences all around Europe to reach out and spread this message that the Commission is there and about what they are doing to improve industry and uptake of this technology. But it's also about technical presentations and different topics around those technologies. And then we have 40 matchmaking events. One of them is today with you. So this really aims at creating that space that different type of actors need to meet and to exchange views about technologies again, but also about how difficult it is to collaborate and to create joint partnerships around and across borders. And then we have your point of view. So it's 100 success stories that we are collecting. This is still also an open call for them. So if you come from the industry, but also if you come from a cluster, if you come from a university, and if you think about these cases of companies that have digitally or technologically transformed, well, we are preparing this leaflets. It's a 2 pages leaflet that are finally yours, and that are free marketing material, I'm always saying, that we put on Twitter, we put on our LinkedIn accounts, and we publish. So you can also use it afterwards for your own marketing purposes. I will present one of these stories afterwards. Just some snapshots of how the WATIFY website looked like. I hope that you could use it because this is one of the most interesting part, I think, of the campaign, to have a repository of material that you can really dig into and use, exploit. In this material you find not only what we do, but also the series of webinars that we carry out on a variety of topics linked to whatever technology you may think of in the series of CATS, key enabling technologies, and digital. All the events that we do, and then on our social media, on Twitter, we have the Twitter chats. So this is a good opportunity for you to ask questions related to technological uptake. So that's more or less the snapshot of the content. Those are some of the matchmaking events that are up to come. I should look better if we have something coming up still around this area, and maybe then we can see together. But those are the ones that I had chosen. So for example, yes, we have one on advanced manufacturing technologies and automation. So quite similar to today's event in Torino. Sorry, the location has changed, but still it will be in Italy North. And Ljubljana, yes. So actually, yes, I already picked the ones that were most useful probably for you. And that's, yes, that comes back to the inspiring part. This is again a snapshot of the website. So you can here search for interviews, cases, and stories. So you can choose by country, by type, by keyword. So hopefully there is some interesting material for you too. And voila, so to finish with, just to give you an overview of what is in the website and in the campaign finally that reflects what we do. This is just some key concept out of one of the success stories that we have, and I chose it because it's really related to what we're going to talk about today. So it's a German company, a small company, 20 employees, and they improve and they succeeded in reducing the waste of material and the resource efficiency levels by programming and by developing this automated arm in their production facility and their production process. So they say they really changed the business model, but the benefits were really present and were really there. So that's one of the examples. This is just one slide, but if you're interested to see how the final story looks like, because I think it's a very nice one, please also let me know, and I will provide it to you. That's the presentation of what is WATIFY. I don't know if you like or not the social media, because I mean you're not obliged to like social media, but for sure our Twitter page is really active, and it's full of articles and interesting information, so please visit it. I think it's another useful tool. And well, so this is more or less from my side what I wanted to tell you about the campaign itself. But now I would like really to call in Greenomed, represented not just by Jordi today, but also the Chamber of Commerce. But Jordi will have a presentation for us on the Vanguard initiative and Greenomed.
Perfect.
Together.
Thank you, Leonora. So as Leonora said, I'm here as a representative of Vanguard initiative, Greenomed partnership, both with the Chamber of Commerce and Cluster Energy, and from my entity, Eurecat in Barcelona. Here. So first of all, I'm really happy to be here. It's my first time in Varaždin, but also in Croatia. So really thankful for your invitation and for the kindness of the hosts here. And thank you very much for inviting us here. I will present you both in this presentation the Vanguard initiative concept and the ESM pilot manufacturing, and also the connection with the project that's promoting this event is Greenomed, as a son of this initiative. Okay, Some of you will already know about Vanguard Initiative, but it's very not yet well known, well spread, the concept. So I will introduce Vanguard and the pilot, and then explain the project. Okay? So what is Vanguard Initiative? What are Vanguard pilots? The demo cases, the use cases, so a little bit of the concepts on this framework. We'll focus on our pilot, the one that we are co-coordinated with our colleagues in ETSNR in Milano, in Lombardy region, benefits and conditions of participating in Vanguard as a region, as a country, and then focus on the Greenomed project and what we are promoting and what our objectives and the expected results. So, we'll start with Vanguard and its pilots. So, what is Vanguard? Vanguard it's a network of regions, okay, of already 30 regions that together they have a common goal, a common objective of potentiating the competitiveness and innovation, strategic innovation of the industrial sector on their region and country. Okay, and they want to join forces together as a network in Europe to push this as a European scale framework. So initially it's based on strategic specialization initiatives, S3, that is a common goal in whole Europe for regions, but focus on industrial modernization. So to reach strategic objectives through critical mass, okay, and focusing on the combination of policy influencing and actual developments on the industrial arena, okay, of each region, but also at national, at European level, making a network. Okay, does this work? Yeah, perfect. So let's move on. Here you can see the regions, the actual regions and countries that are already inside the network. So you will see a lot of them. And we are promoting new regions to join. So that's one of the goals of my presence here, to explain you a little bit what is Vanguard, what is the benefits there, and to promote at least that you think about it. Okay? As you see, there's a lot of people there, so they have common goals, but also specific goals for them there. Vanguard is organized as pilots. It's pilot projects, okay? Pilot projects, and there are 5 of them. Sorry, 5 of them here. But all of them, they have common structure. They are coordinated, so there's a network of regions, of core regions that promote the same idea. They are supported by regional governments, so this is bottom-up initiative. There is not a European push, but it's a regional push. It is also promoted and linked with industry for strategic challenges of local industry, and it is aimed at generating pilot plans. And we'll explain that, what is a pilot plan, what is the concept on Vanguard initiative of a pilot plan. Okay, these are the 5 ones. We are here as members of ESN, Efficient and Sustainable Manufacturing, but there are also other ones, all of them linked to industry and manufacturing. One specifically focused on 3D printing, other in advanced manufacturing for energy, other for bioeconomy, and the last one in nano-enabled production. Okay, so you can participate in one of them, or several of them, or all of them as a region. Okay, it depends on your strategy and how your regional goals and objectives in industry fits with the other ones. Okay, so pilot plans, the concept of pilot plans in Vanguard. This is a central concept. Pilot projects are promoting pilot plans. What is a pilot plan? Pilot plan is a place or real infrastructure place, but not only infrastructure, where you can find competences, multidisciplinary competence, linked with innovative technologies, and environment, people that will help you to understand, to test, to set up, to industrialize, to scale up new ideas, new technologies. Okay? So it's a perfect place for an SME or for an entrepreneur or for a medium large enterprise to test ideas before putting them into their production and into the market. Okay? These are open facilities, so they are like an intermediator. It's not only for a specific user, it's for the whole industry of the region, of the country. They are open, they facilitate, they give these services. The services are to develop technologies from TRL 7 per market, but already developed, so well tested in laboratory and ready to jump into the market in the last stages where there is more difficulty, more investment, and they have to be motivated and supported by local industry. So there should be a need, an interest, a common interest of the industry. Okay? And they have to be applied. Later on I will have, in my second presentation, I will give you an idea, a specific idea of what in our case, it's a pilot plan in Catalonia. Okay? So you will, if you have more doubts, we can solve that later. But this is the main framework. Okay? An infrastructure with advanced technologies, with people, with knowledge that are open for the industry to develop, to test, to have knowledge, to scale up the ideas, the technologies into the market. Okay? New ideas to be more competitive. If you have any specific question, you can interrupt me, please. So we are organized like this. Pilot project, okay, is like the global framework. It's very strategic and broad in scope, as you've seen. Our pilot project is efficient and sustainable manufacturing. This very broad thing, okay? And it serves as an interface between policymakers at the European level, also at regional and national levels, and with the industry, and a methodological support, okay? And inside the pilot, there are demo cases. I am co-coordinator and promoter of one of the 5 demo cases inside efficient and sustainable manufacturing. Okay? Mine is mainly focused on functional plastics, but there are others. Others in circular economy, digital and virtual manufacturing, etc. inside this pilot. So you have seen we have 5 pilots, and we have more or less 4 or 5 demo cases inside each of the pilots of backwards. Okay? There's a web page, you can go there. And each of the demo cases that are already more focused on an area have several use cases. So actual deployment of technology in a specific niche, market needs, industry. Okay? Technology promoted, so focused, and with a concrete implementation. That's what really the industry wants. So functional polymer for smart plastic production in automotive, for example. Or here, energy efficiency in automotive manufacturing process. Okay? So this is the main organization. So you will see here we have the demo cases of each of the 5 pilots. This is ours, efficient and sustainable manufacturing. And we have these 5, others are 3, 4, others 6. It's open, okay? This is an ongoing thing, so some of them will fall because there is not support or not enough strength, and others will arise. So this is not a closed thing. At the same time, it is open to new regions and to nations to promote new things. And we are here to develop this. What does a Bangalore pilot initiative as a general objectives do? So it helps to create a critical mass regionally to promote strategic ideas and initiatives. We focus on stimulating and of identification of strategic innovation topics of the regions, and then to convert these topics into specific pilot plant projects. So developing this, the industry of this area of the region through their strategy, the common goals, into specific facilities that helps them to be more competitive. Okay. We offer also methodology and support, and interregional cooperation. So we link you with other regions and initiatives that are complementary or aligned with yours. Okay? Bridging the gap between industry, technical level with the political, the ones that can push at regional and national, at European level, the help, the funds to promote this. And we also coach the demo cases to develop, accelerate their process and to give the framework. Okay? So, we, in the Efficient and Sustainable Manufacture, or in short, ESM, we combine both worlds, the efficiency in manufacturing, this our objectives, and also the sustainability. So, we focus on improving quality, reducing costs, increasing production throughput, but also in reduction of energy, materials, consumption, emissions, etc. So these are our both areas of main action. And each demo case focus on some of the combination of this. Okay? What we have developed is some methodology to help this to happen. This bottom-up approach from the industry, from the local industry, to develop ideas to promote this into this network of pilot plants at European level. So there's several areas of development. So at the beginning, we just started through a mapping in each of the regions, local industry, local entities that can they already know that they're already working in the area and that they can promote common goals and objectives that make sense to the industry of the region. So that was the concept development definition. Okay. Then there's a second phase on business planning, how to develop this infrastructure, this pilot plan as making sense and be sustainable. Okay, and implementing that pilots to help the industry. Okay, so this is what the methodology. And here we can see some steps: working groups, meetings, definition of strategies, etc., guidelines to promote this. So we have the tools, and Greenomed is also helping us to develop these tools and to test them in real action to new regions that can follow the lead of the first ones that already have tested this and learn on the way, so that also we can offer. This started in September 2014. So the first round was the last month of the 2014. So we are been working on this for 3-4 years. It's a long-term objective. So we are not only working on this, but each of the entities, partner regions, are supporting this at our regional level, promoting our participation, but also at the political level, pushing European scale members of the council, etc., to generate framework to promote these things in the new scenarios of innovation policy at European level. Okay. So we have a lot of experience already on both technical and policy innovation, as you can see. So, as you see, we started with several ideas. Some have already passed through the concept definition. Others are already in the business placement and pilot funding. So this is an ongoing effort. Okay, and you can jump in or generate a new idea here. This is not a closed window. Here you can see the participation of entities and regions in different demo cases. But as I've said, some are more developed, some are less developed, but all of them are open and welcoming new participants. regions, industry from regions, new ideas. Okay? So you can promote a use case instead of a demo case, or you can promote a demo case, leading. In the end, as a region, you can consider to lead something or to join into the leadership of other regions. Okay. So the opportunities that offer Vanguard, and specifically Vanguard ESM pilot, are these. Enter a network of stakeholders, highly qualified, and already with pilot plans implemented and starting to develop. A lot of knowledge and industrial opportunities, so a lot of context from the industry of each of the regions that are promoting these ideas, and they are already in the working groups. Generating a channel here already to bring research results into the market and to take research results from other regions. So in the end, to bring some realities from their R&D projects and R&D activities into the return, into the business. That is the most difficult part, this last gap. We also generate international cooperation. So this linking between regions, between countries. As I've said, I'm mostly visiting Milano, but also other regions and countries through Vanguard and making these connections and promoting the collaboration. Because in the end, we are not alone. There's a big world, and we need capacities and complementaries from either of the region at the European level if we want to compete with states, with China, with other countries. Okay? And to achieve critical mass and generate value chain through Europe in specific areas and technologies. Okay? So, but also there are some conditions in the game. We have some terms, we have to play at a regional level, we have to have local industrial motivation, so participation, a specific participation at local level to promote your ideas. It has to be aligned with the region strategy, it has to be complementary or additive to what is already ongoing or aligned with that at least, and you have to commit yourself and participate and invest. Okay, and it's a long-term thing, so it's, as you can imagine, generating a strategic goal for the region, creating the reality, the infrastructures, collaborating. This is not a thing for a year or two. We've been working for this for 4 years, and there's a lot of things to do, but in the way, you learn, you do, you gain knowledge, you exploit things, so I think it's worthwhile. Here already we have more than 300 stakeholders, and we have several initiatives, son and daughters of this. So specifically Greenomed is one of this actual project, this Interreg project, where we are collaborating with the Chamber of Commerce and Cluster Energy as partners here in Croatia. It's a development of Vanguard, so there are practical things ongoing, okay, but also European projects and policy innovation projects, etc. This is the framework. I don't think, I'm not sure if I extended too much, but it was important to explain what was the starting point and where we're heading, okay. Greenomed, as I said, is a second part. It's the actual project that promotes, as a son of the initiative, new regions in the Mediterranean area that participate in green manufacturing pilot plants. Okay? And this is a specific project. We have a budget of 2 million through all the partners. The core partnership is Italian colleagues and us from Catalonia that promote already the ESM partner initiative. Okay, but we have other players that also, like Plastipolis, are also in France that are also already on Vanguard. But we want to expand this idea of pilot plants and the idea of Vanguard and the promotion of regional ecosystems into this regard in new Mediterranean regions, aiming to green manufacturing. And that's why we have Croatia, We have Slovenia here, some systems from Slovenia. We have Greek partners also. We have other regions in Italy, so we are promoted because this is a Mediterranean Interreg project. Okay? Because we think that both Lombardian partners and Catalonian partners, we have experience and we have the knowledge how to deploy this into other Mediterranean countries with the same kind of industry orientation and cultural initiatives and SME approach. Okay. The concept under Greenomed is manufacturing is a fundamental pillar of modern economy, so we don't have manufacturing and we are only relying on agriculture and services. We are lacking a strategic thing for our future in our regions and our countries. So we are focusing on promoting manufacturing and making it sustainable and growing as a part of our GDP in Europe and in our regions. But manufacturing can and has to contribute to sustainability, so it has to reduce their usage of energy, materials, resources and emissions. So we focus this in the greening of manufacturing, on this being competitive through a greening approach. So less cost by materials and energy, but also less impact on the environment and the people. So that's what we aim from. Green manufacturing is a top priority, and it's already at European level now. Europe is a global leader in knowledge production and has very advanced environment and cultural and regulations, but that strengths are compensated by some weakness, because we are not good as other regions to bridge that gap from knowledge to market realities, to economize your research investments. And we want to promote this through pilot plants. And our real ecosystem of SMEs, small SMEs, can have difficulties in to promote this. So we have to help them. We are very aware of the limitations of SMEs, but we also want to keep this ecosystem and promote this, because it's in our culture to have a lot of entrepreneurs, initiatives, SMEs, familiar or small SMEs that are very innovative, but they need help, critical mass to go into the value chains, global value chains. Okay, so that's why we develop this concept of pilot plants to overcome the valley of death, this last gap. Okay, and that's where we focus on 3 of the demo cases on the DSM. One in energy efficiency, other in deer manufacturing and circular economy, and that one on sustainable functional polymers that I'm coordinating. Okay? What is the challenge addressed by Greenomed? This one. How to generate, design, promote, develop pilot plants in new regions through the definition of ideas, concepts, of a strategic, aligned to a strategy of new regions. So, testing, methodologic tools and cooperation into developing build pilot plants in the mid area, thanks to the previous Vanguard Initiative experience of the core group. Okay? And that's what we're doing already here, helping you to develop, to think about, to generate the critical mass, local critical mass, and new concepts, ideas, and goals to generate this. Here you have the consortium, as I said. The leaders are here in Lombardy and Catalonia. We have also participants from Plastipolis, France, Slovenia, Croatia, Greece, okay, and other regions in Italy. We're developing and testing the cooperation methodology. And what is that? This is a process and the supporting tools to help that to happen. To help that to the regions to conceive, to design, to generate this momentum and framework into developing new pilot plants into the Vanguard in each of the regions, taking into account the smart specialization strategy of each region. Okay, Which are the users, which are our local promoters of these concepts and ideas? Clusters of industries, and RTOs and companies in each of the regions. The environment, the innovation environment of the business environment of each of the regions. We will help and contact the clusters to coordinate regional systems, as it's a goal here with our partners from Chamber of Commerce and Cluster Energy, to implement, thanks to the methodology and using the tools that we develop in the project, these ideas and these objectives. And we will help them to accompany these companies, these RTOs, locally in framework, into the development of pilot plans and the clusters giving the services needed and the tools needed to these companies to jump into these ideas. Okay. So the objectives of Greenomed are this: generate a methodology governed by clusters to promote the cooperation, new regional cooperation on green manufacturing innovation, to generate ideas of and set up trans-regional cooperation projects with these new regions, and to establish the institutional environment on each of the regions and globally to help develop this align. Okay. So in the end, we are making like notes on every of these regions, clusters, companies, research institutions, but also policymakers, in order to have this ecosystem, this environment that can promote Level Labs and pilot plans and connect, network, coordinate it into a common goal. Okay? Each of these regions with their strategies, their interests, their realities, their future goals, but cooperating to generate value chains that can exploit this in the future at European framework. We already had our first conference in Thessaloniki some months ago, 3 months ago. March next year we'll have a conference. This was for general public in Barcelona. We'll invite you. We welcome you to join us in next spring in Barcelona for an industrial event of the project. And we'll have our last event in Milano, in Lombardy, specifically for policymakers. So we focus at these 3 levels to potentiate all these ideas. Okay? And we're already developing the process and the tools to help the regions in each of the steps. So it's not an easy way, but we have developed a methodology. So the framework setting that we already had in the first meeting that we contributed by online, the identification of topics, regional topics. So today it's first step into this regard. Establishment of core groups in the region. That is one of the first outcomes of it. That is already a good output to generate a network of industries, RTOs, policymakers of our region into a common strategic goal. If we reach this already, we are very happy because it serves. Huh?
Yeah,
maybe
I'm already finished, so it's so in the end, we want to reach an implementation of the pilot plan, but in these different steps already are outputs and successes that are helpful for the industry and for the region and the countries. Okay? And we develop the services and the tools that help in each of these steps in this methodology. Okay? And we are actually working with the partners here in Croatia to develop this. This is it. Mainly, thank you for your patience and attention and your interest in joining us today. And I hope it's been interesting. I will be around. I will be speaking specifically of a pilot plan to give you an idea, specific idea of what I'm talking about. It's not only words. There are realities already ongoing. specific or very boring?
No, none of the two. Actually, it's also good to remember that we already collaborated with Greenomed in another matchmaking event on smart plastics in Lyon. And so yes, it was for me a big thanks to the other occasion that we had in that respect. But maybe I was thinking from the side of the businesses, from the side of the companies. If you could, I don't know, summarize or have an idea for us of the most difficult and the best rewarding points for joining this, from your experience, from yeah, maybe I can give you this one.
Really, I think even the first step I just told you, the developing of these core groups at regional, national level, with common goals, as a network, as a value chain, it's already very rewarding for the industry, because they start collaborating, sharing ideas, gaining critical mass, starting to develop a common strategy that can help them into the business. Yeah. So that doesn't happen that much naturally. So it's a goal, shared goal from clusters, from RTOs, from policymakers, innovation chambers, to help that. But normally there is not easy, not a correct framework, not tools for all of this, and this is what we try to generate and to develop in Vanguard and through Greenomed. So even this first stage is a really real success, because this is the starting of really new things and outputs and real deployments all over. Then the second stage is connecting with other regions, with other actual ongoing environments at the European level that complement your capacities, your strategies, and this generates a potential multiplier effect. So each of the steps are rewarding, and I think the ones that we have been doing this for 4 years, it's a long-term thing, it's not a short team, as much of the innovation thing. We are working on this, not very short-term oriented, but we have short-term success things, success stories. So the main thing is starting the wheel, and the wheel generates a lot of momentum and energy.
Thank you. Yeah, indeed. I think that the most difficult part of innovation is that it's very fragmented, right? And then you have to put some structure.
And SMEs are mostly alone, and they don't.
Yes.
They lack capacities, connections. So all this helps.
That helps. Yeah. Right. Thank you very much, Arne.
Thank you.
We see each other in 15 minutes from now again. But now we go on, because we have now from Croatia, so from the Faculty of Mechanical Engineering and Naval Architecture, University of Zagreb, Nedeljko Stefanic, if I pronounce it correctly. So I invite him to come on stage. He's here. We didn't have the opportunity to meet before. Nice to meet you. So we're going to talk about transformation in the industry, right, and opportunities and challenges from the side of the university. And I'm very interested also because I see a naval architecture.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Thank you for helping. Okay, I leave you the stage.
Da li na hrvatski govorim ili na engleski? Da, ja bi na hrvatski, imam prevod, jel?
Okay, we do have interpretation. I'm very glad to be here in Varaždin and be able to talk to you about projects such as those that Mr. Romero talked about. These projects are very important for transforming our industry and improve it. Yesterday you could have read that the Croatian government reform measures, among which one of the most important is concerned with digitizing the industry and economy in general. Can I open the presentation? Is there a problem? Apparently. Here it is. Excellent. First, I'm a professor at the Faculty of Mechanic, Engineering and Naval Architecture. I started working with Toyota on their Toyota productions in manufacturing system. I worked on lean manufacturing, and during the final few years we started 2 conferences that are tasked with helping our enterprises in improving their production. We're oriented towards the green and lean production that was already mentioned by Mr. Romero, and the goals mentioned by Mr. Romero are exactly the target that we have set for ourselves. With my team, I made a national platform for industry innovation, and I also worked on the European level, and now I'm a member of a team tasked with making a strategy of digitizing the economy. There is 7 of us, and I'm tasked with industry, and I'm very happy that in yesterday's document issued by the government mentions industry, lean and Kaizen, management, digitizing, and all the aspects that Mr. Romero mentioned. We need to mention the 5 main targets of EU for 2020, research and development, education, employment, climate changes, and poverty and social exclusion. You can see on the slide that Croatia is about 24th, 25th in Europe, and the goal we are trying to achieve is to enter the company of 20 of the best in Europe. Maybe this looks a faraway goal, but I believe that since we have active projects and available funds from European projects in scientists and government can produce results. You can see that research and development in the GDP is 0.79 in 2016, 0.85 in 2017. We are striving for 1.4 in the next year, and this was also stressed in yesterday's document, along with the cooperation between industry and science. We can see that our education is not bad, but that doesn't mean it cannot be improved. We can see that the employment between 20 and 64 years of age is perhaps below average. Climate changes, we don't have a problem, but what we have to work on is poverty and social exclusion. During the past 2 years, we started analyzing the reasons why Croatian industry has problems. Where can we find those problems? And the analysis showed that Croatia is in the 5th cluster concerning productivity. So our average is about 18,000 euro per employee, and this is a 23rd place, but when we went deeper into the data, we saw several concerning facts. If we compare ourselves with our Slovenian colleagues, we noticed that processing employs 26% employees less in Slovenia, but they generate 50% more of GVA. And we noticed that Slovenia is twice as strong as we are in productivity. So where do you think the problem is? Hungary and Austria we didn't even compare with. And we went further down, trying to analyze the situation on technological intensivity. Here we can see the situation concerning enterprises in Croatia. We can see that 99.2 are SMEs and micro enterprises, but only 0.8 of them are large enterprises, but we can see that large enterprises employ 36.4 of all the employees, creating 46% of total added value. In digitizing Industry 4.0, this means that large enterprises are those who have to bear the brunt of those. Next up, look at this graph. You have 4 quadrants. You have industries with low, medium high, and high technological intensivity. And according to classification of industries, we could see that the low technology intensivity employs 48% of all those employed, creating 38%, 29.81% of added value. 0.7 is the coefficient, which means they cannot develop. This is textile, leather, beverages, shoes. The situation is not particularly good. Medium-low technology-intensive industries, 36% of gross value added and 27.88 proportion of employees in manufacturing. This is, for instance, oil processing. When you take these 2 quadrants into account, you can see on the left, 70%, over 70% of those employed work in these 2 quadrants, and they generate about 65% of gross value added. This means that we have there is no possibility to develop in these segments. We need to change something that will help these industry branches to move them one level up, so to speak, from low to medium low, from medium low to medium high. Look what we have in the top right corner. The factor is 1.8. This is IT and pharmaceuticals. On the top left, you have transportation means and similar. You can see that the situation is not very good. And from this, it follows what needs to be done. These are the limiting factors for moving forward. For that reason, we decided we have to move towards Industry 4.0. When we put together the national platform, I went to Brussels, and, well, actually I learned a lot during the past 2 years, and you can see that the EU GDP went up by 110 billion euro per year. We have to be a part of that story. The next thing is that a new generation of services and products is on the brink of becoming realized. When I was in Hanover, I could see that those countries who moved towards digitization and Industry 4.0 have growth between 15 and 20% per annum. So there is no choice but to go that way. And then we have to transit to smart economy. Why? Why are we behind here? Because the government isn't investing in this. We have to invest into pilot projects. These are the these are the countries that intensively invest into Industry 4.0, and we could see that the enterprises from these countries are the strongest and the best: Germany, Italy, France, and others. What about us concerning investing in digitization? We think a lot about European funds, but this is not enough. I suggested to the government that some funds should be also allocated by them into digitization. We've been promised that we'll start in 2019. This is a bit late. We are always a bit late, but I hope we'll be a bit faster. We're catching up with Industry 4.0. To our colleagues from the Croatian Chamber of Economy, I'd like to say that we must prepare for these fairs for the next year, because I think we weren't represented adequately this year. We should gather the enterprises who are successful in Industry 4.0 and present them there. The European Union has prepared significant funds to help, additional funds to the regular ones, to help the digital transformation of member states. The European Commission says that every enterprise, small, micro, medium or large, should be helped to be successful in the digital transformation. The funds listed here meant for pilot projects that we will utilize as well. In comparison, from the end of past year when I was there, were tripled. The new horizon until 27 is being made, and research and development got 700% increase of funding, which means that everybody is clear on what this means for industry. To start with, we have digital manufacturing platforms for connected smart factories, 95 million euro. Agricultural digital integration platforms, 15 plus 15 million. Rural economy platforms, 30 million. Internet of Things for energy. Smart homes and grids, 30 million. But look at the situation with healthcare, hospitals for the future, and also other manufacturing plants. Prerequisites are being connected with other countries in Europe, to work with them on Industry 4.0. We must be parts of a hub ourselves and part of other hubs of the member states, and this is something we shall dedicate to in the next period. To be able to overcome our weak initial position that we have seen in those 4 areas a couple of slides ago, my team and I developed a dual strategy for fast development of our industry. It's comprised of two parts. One is called lean transformation and the other is digital transformation. We were sure that we were right when we realized in Hanover that lean and digital transformation were very strongly stressed. Germany started with lean transformation and are developing new models where lean can be implemented, and of course digitization doesn't need to be mentioned. We started with 12 steps. First, we are using the strongest lean tools that we can use, which will bring higher productivity and efficiency. This is process mapping, VFM, 5S visual management, standardization, Kaizen, and high quality. As for digitalization, 7 steps. First and foremost, what we have to do is start creating new generation of products, smart and connected products, and wherever possible we can start working on platforms that will improve our efficiency. So these connected and smart products made by our industry will provide funds for growth and development. Second comes the digitalization of production and manufacturing, utilizing resources, for instance, electricity distributive networks, how to get new skills and knowledge. We were talking at the Commission and in Hanover about standardizing. Germans are working on it, and we have some first solutions. And finally, there's cybersecurity. Where do we implement this dual strategy? We can do this anywhere. It's not a problem. Industry is number one. The whole thing was made with a view to industry. Industry is the first aspect of the market that has to be efficient and use these tools. After that, services, financial, banks, insurance companies, they should also start among the first. Public administration, ministries, counties and local self-government should be more efficient, and public sector, hospitals, jurisprudence and others. When we connect the two elements, we get a fast and efficient economy in Croatia. I was a bit here I was trying to talk about how each of these tools can be implemented. Here we can see what VSM mapping is, Toyota methodology, various stream mapping. We must realize which are the activities that add value and focus on them. Those that do not add value should be removed from the process. 5S visual management, sorting, setting in order, shining, standardizing and sustaining. We have shown that even these 5 S's can improve efficiency by 5 to 10% in each enterprise. Kaizen is how to achieve creation and innovation among the employees. Kaizen methodology is used here. Of course, without quality, we cannot move forward. Here we can see in detail the digital transformation. Smart and connected products, Internet of Things, Internet of Services, Internet of Everything, big data models. Smart and connected products leads to platforms, and platform compared to a product is a connected ecosystem with large financial effects, and you can see that those who have managed to create platforms, take Microsoft, Facebook and others, these are the market leaders. At the European Commission we see we have to move in that direction, and we are trying to find where we can find and create strong platforms that will allow the European Union to speed up the growth. We have here innovation, new business models. Business models have to change. We have done enough to change them, some 5 years, but we will have to start being active. Productivity has to be raised, renewable energy used, and recently we have been talking a lot about the human factor, the most important aspect of any business model, how to help humans to cope with the changes that are happening, how to develop learning models to be able to implement the transformation leading to Industry 4.0. If you look at some enterprises in Varaždin, Osijek, Čakovec or Zagreb, you can see that our industry is concentrated in the, if you remember the bottom left quadrant of that slide, we can see what the skill sets are of our employees and how far away they are from the skills required here, so we'll have to invest significantly in them. Robotization used where working conditions are not adequate may be a great help to the employees. With my colleague Mr. Jeremic and other colleagues, we're talking about a series of robots to implement in Croatian enterprises and moving to the top quadrants of the said slide. The story about transforming products. Here we can see what needs to be done to transform our products. In November of last year, the EBRD was present at the meeting. We were talking about how to help the industry survive this transition to 4.0, and we contributed this. Proizvod, or the product such as it is at this moment, existing now, no level of smart included or connection included in this first phase. This is what we have now. When you become able to analyze data and communicate with those products, you get smart products which already raise the value of our products by 15 to 20% and have a greater presence on the market. When we then connect this to clouds, our mobile technology, and we have smart and connected technology, and it's not a problem to receive data at any time, and we come to big data and handling big data. Next, we start with farm equipment systems here. When we connect all those products into a system, there's another improvement, but when we create a platform from farm equipment system, water management system, crop optimization system, and meteorological system, you get a platform. My student says a couple of days ago, you have to go to the stand of a German enterprise. There's Varaždin, a Croatian firm. There were two guys there who finished faculty 2 years ago. We have one enterprise in Germany, one in New York. What are you doing? Artificial intelligence, big data. They have made their own model of artificial intelligence and solving problems in chemical industry, in steel industry, in refineries, and their results were so fast and so great that they were already significant. After 2 years, I asked them to come to GOP in 2018 and show us how they managed to turn a startup in 2 or 3 years to such a large enterprise. A very interesting thing here was concerning deep learning and machine learning. They managed to save significant amounts of money to other enterprises and industries, and they did say how they managed, but details on our conference. So Industry 4.0, digitalization, is the opportunity for those who rather missed the first 3 industrial revolution, who have neglected economy and industry, to make up for that bad start position. Where can we implement Industry 4.0? In the entire chain of value adding, for instance, smart procurement, smart farming, production, smart homes, smart buildings, milk industry, auto industry, smart buildings. You can use smart or intelligent systems anywhere. What does that mean? That means that there is an opportunity for everybody, for each member state of the EU, for every industry, for each enterprise. The question is, do we want to develop, do we want to connect to others, and shall we use the right strategy? Let me enter just one segment of this story. I will show you a smart house. 67 startups work together to make your home smart. Smart house, smart building. You can see what they have produced for it. For instance, managing all the apparatuses, oversight of web systems for audio, lights, maintenance, energy use. 67 companies, startup companies, developed and went forward. I'm talking about this because every one of us, and I know that here in Varaždin and Čakovec there are many startup companies going in that way. Startup companies are very important in digitizing and transforming. They're faster than large enterprises or medium enterprises. They are faster to move forward. In our conference in Opatija, 24th and 25th of May, we shall show several startups. How did the startup manage to go to Switzerland and US in 2 or 3 years and achieve great success? All these strategies were put together with a lot of work, and we managed to get them accepted by the government as the basis of further activities, and for those enterprises that will move in that direction. And yesterday you could see the index of maturity for Industry 4.0 is 2.15. The government wants to get to 3.05 by mid-2019, and we believe that this strategy will make this possible. So we say that we have enterprises with index of maturity under 3 will have to start with lean first. That's what we'll recommend. VSM, mapping, Kaizen, that is something they would dedicate themselves to for a year. Those who have maturity over 3.0 will start with digitization, which will produce additional finance, and the pilot projects for digitization, and then education for the employees. We have put together materials for education, and in Opatija we shall present a platform, Improve Croatia, the 25th at noon. It will be presented to the public. At the conference in Zagreb in November of 2017, we said, what do we think Croatia needs to enter the company of the 20 best member states? We have to have annual productivity rising of 10 to 20%. We must be able to show our success. Industrial manufacturing, 3 to 5% growth. GDP growth, 20 to 30% increase. Colleagues from Germany, growth rate of GDP will be about 33% in Germany due to Industry 4.0, but I believe now it's even greater. We believe that we have to decrease unemployment by 10 to 20%, and those who are employed should be able to live off it, and I believe this will also solve many of the demographic issues we have. On a meeting we had, colleagues from Slovakia and Czech Republic were saying that they need workers, Czechs and Slovaks 170,000, Germans even more, and that is a danger we're facing here. And finally, we have to be able to utilize EU funds in a more fast and efficient way. We've talked to the regional Ministry of Regional Development and other ministries, and after 2 years of talks, this element has gotten significant response. And finally, we have a digitizing strategy, The team is in place, and we will work on digitizing the economy. In industry, we have it and it's operational. It just needs to be handed over to the government. Digitizing products is the first step in Industry 4.0. Talking with our colleagues from Končar, I told them we always have the same products every year. Nothing is changing. Is there any way you can change them, make them smarter, improve them? Because otherwise you'll have trouble with that. What they answer? We will. That's what they said. But they didn't say when. They're trying to do it, but they're too slow. What is the problem? The problem is low speed. I don't believe we are quite aware that we have to change. But I think they're moving in that direction. Finally, a very important event. You know that in 2020 we'll preside over the Commission, and this is a central event for us. We have to be prepared, have a new economy, a better economy for that. And I believe, I've been pushing for years now towards that, and I know that the government thing, I'm a bit boring that way, but I believe that we have to preside with a new economy. And another thing I believe we have to do, I've seen transformation in other member states. For instance, colleagues from Poland are among the most developed states where Industry 4.0 is concerned, and we want to join that club by 2020 and be a partner state to the Hanover Messe. To sum up, I'm optimistic. I know what I've been through from 2009 with our economy and our government, and I can tell you that we are moving forward. The European Commission is pushing us on. They have not given up on us. Despite the meager results, they are ready to invest into us, and we have to give our best to succeed. Another element to interject here, in March, April, there was a digital day in Brussels. You've heard about us not signing UI, genomes, radar documents. I was there and it was very difficult. We shall sign all this. I've talked to all the relevant ministries. And finally, we all need to connect. First, all of us in Croatia, getting more efficient, then connect to colleagues from other EU member states and work together on better results. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was, I was very happy that we had this presentation, because to me it was very clear, and apart from that, it gave me a really a good overview of what you are doing, and diving into the macroeconomic also environment that you have, which is very important.
That is important, that you have what's your condition as present state.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It is very important that you know where you are, your current state. And when you know what's your weaknesses, what's your strengths, you can solve, or you can determine, use it and determine your way to improvement.
Yeah. Are there any questions already? Okay, but yeah, there was no ship and naval aspect in the presentation, but there was a reason why I mentioned that. It's because
In the last event that we had in Zagreb, we had another inspiring presentation on Industry 4 from a Croatian company, which is ITEC. And they are involved in the naval sector and sector production, and they have completely transformed their business model.
I have here pilot projects for some parts of our company, but I didn't put that here. We have projects from the Navy, architecture, and
yes,
others.
yes.
We have pilots. And colleagues from Fair too, am I right? They have many pilot projects from other part of our industry.
Okay, so yes, thank you very much. Are we at the coffee break? I think we are at the coffee break. Yes, we are at the coffee break. So you're free for half an hour. The coffee is served upstairs, and then we reconvene here in half an hour from now. Sorry. It's okay.
Svi moramo surađivati, svi se moramo povezati i nemamo više vremena.
iz Varaždina, šta je već, trebam... Jazra možda da je, da, dosta, jer bio sam isto kod njih gore i isto oni su bili na paneuropskoj uključenju, tako da s njima isto sam...
Točno, može. Imamo dobre škole, baš Trojanska nam je jako dobra i elektra Trojanska.
Da, tako, ako ne mogu vam dati moj blikat, jer sad samo bio sam 25 godina u industriji, onda sad 4 godine počavam, ostaću samo kao vanjski profesor na isto na fakultetima, imam neke predavanja.
A vi imate prakse, vi to možete, kako možete, ako vi ne možete, stopiti. Dajte mi
sam motorom, nisam znao kako ću ideti za Dalmaciju, evo sam kazao da doći ću s sjerom ako je neki kontakt, evo baš sad smo u ovom što se tiče industrije 4.0 da doći imati za hrvatske škole isto neka predavanja, to znači biti workshop, ne samo predavanja, ljudi dosta čuju, ali imamo sad neku opremu i sve, pa da jer đaci nemaju baš osjećaju šta je to industrija 4.0, a sad imamo kao neke simulaciju male tvornice.
Ima li naravno, moram priznati većini.
Baš ovo što sam napravio je sad simulacija male tvornice, tako da oni hands-on mogu vidjeti u biti šta to znači. To nema još niko ovako.
Jako simulacija. Odlično, baš mi je drago pa budu probali malo vas.
Da, evo, pa svakako.
Odlično i mikrofon smo čak sad drugi koristili i ide nam to odlično, nema mikrofonije.
Bez naočara sam i to je
klikse, točno, da. Imam isti problem, da. Te godine 50. su za izglede.
Da, baš.
Kad vam treba dulja ruka.
Da neke kućne miške.
Evo sad imamo znači pol sata pauzu, a nastavljamo dalje, mislim da će spričati. Ja mislim da 13 do 13:30 imamo ovu panela raspravu i sve bude tako. Mislim da
jer ono što ja ovako kod svih ovih...
Ovo i onda 13:30 ručak. Da.
Mi smo pripremili za 34 kako je bilo naručeno. Tako da sad ne znam da li ih je manje, više došlo.
Znate kako skoro su se svi odazvali, morali smo gledati, još nam je sad dolazilo kad baš nisam bila vana.
Da, vidjela sam da ih je dosta
manje. I neki još ljudi naknadno, radnike koji nisu bili prijavljeni, ali mislim da se to su organiziralo s ovim, kvar nije došlo. Mogu da nego neka, pa nije vam problema ako bude možda plus minus 1, 2, mislim da ne ide.
Mi 3-4 pripremimo, tako ide naplata, tako da to je to hladni bifet, pa da uvijek nije to da je normalno posluživanje klasično, tako da ovoga uvijek se nađe.
Mislim da bude okej, ljudi tu nas je ne ide, kako da se trebalo biti.
Da, imate barijere, interesantno, te
ne znam. Mogu da mogu, ja bi znači sad taj link mogla isto kopirati.
Samo ne vidim pojete?
Da, ne bi mišljeni tu, ne znam probala.
Moram ti Wi-Fi.
Aha, dobro, nema Wi-Fi, da li sam probala?
Okay. Aha, ja sam to neki papir još više.
imate ABC
I vrlo rijetko kad možeš ići na neku konferenciju. Mi, kad smo u tim EU projektima, više uopće imamo redovite, čim je neki problem, imamo local meeting, videokonferenciju. Videokonferencijama se sve dogovaramo. Ne koristimo više niti telefone, niti ništa. Da, ima local meeting, oni nam to stalno šalju. Čak su ovog jadnog Marina nagovorio da dođe na local meeting, čim je on se pojavila problem nekakvog konektora, nešto nekako znali kaj je to rekao, neko dođe do tamo, neko rekao to mislim, ja da Mari došao, to je naravno tehničko vezani, imala sve krećemo, tretiralo se, ali mislim, to je...
A ne, ovo je riječi najvažnije.
Nećemo to moći iznimiti, to je snimljeno.
Je, Google je to već spremno, bude spremno u svoju arhivu i Google se zove, a već imate i prije toga kad smo se vježbali, vidite gore, te snimke sve 5 imam sekundi.
A da, to je...
Imamo arhivu, da, i naravno.
Da, to nitko u Varaždinu ne prakticira, da se to delo.
Ja znam da
taj live stream u biti je tek par godina postao aktualan zbog optičke mreže. Znači, zbog velikih brzina prenosa podataka. Jer streaming zahtjeva, znači, veliku brzinu prenosa podataka. Do sad, nažalost, tehnologija je ležala na bakru. A bakra na žicama vam je po 2 sekunde. Samo dan ako imate neki spor internet, to su mnogo spore veze. A sad kroz tu gradnju te optičke mreže, jednostavno pristupačnost je tu. Sada u principu, vani je to možno. Tamo, kako je gospodin to rekao, vani se investira na digitalizaciju. Cijel taj proces kojim se to spomeni, je to ne nisam pravda. Mislim tu mrežu za naše korisnike i to svaki je naša pristup raznih govornici, raznih poduzeća i a opet su ne zapravo upovednu inteligenciju da se
Hi, hello. This is yours.
Yes, I think I just put it there.
Okay.
Are you Stefan?
Yeah, Stefan.
Nice to meet you. Okay, I was
Next one.
really looking for you.
Okay, you're going to talk about...
Here's the slide.
I cannot really read.
Sorry. It's a search and development for Industry 4, and this is I talk about the project that on the technical electrical engineering and
Okay, great.
And I will talk in English. Even though they told me that I should talk in English, it's kind of stupid because most of my slides are in English. And also I talk about technology, so it's much easier to talk about technology in English than in Croatian.
I totally understand that. I wouldn't be able to make the presentations in Italian, for example.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so I just need to go briefly and then always my question when I go to university, coming also from my brother is a university, so I always ask, do you collaborate a lot with other companies or businesses?
Here I will present the only project that we got from Varazdin framework. So we work with the companies, but my team uses also other projects.
Okay.
I concentrate on the projects, and I concentrate only on Industry 4.0, and also what we got from Varazdin and
Yes. I always try to link it back to, project here and that's exactly what I needed from them. I must admit, last time in here in Zagreb, at the university, it was very difficult because it was really too far away from the other experiences. So because university sometimes there is this thing. So it was very difficult. Exactly.
I think it's worthwhile. We have to talk with people to make things happen.
We have to use them. And also that there is a translation. So this is one for you. It's already on. Yeah. This is one for me. Dear all, may I ask you to sit down? We're starting with the second part before lunch, and I was already discussing with Stefan Bogdan from the Faculty of Electrical Engineering. He's going to talk about, once again, Industry 4, because Industry 4 is finally very, very much connected with greening of manufacturing and the Greenomed in general project. Stefan, to you. You're going to discuss about the case in the electrical engineering environment, let's say, right? It's all yours.
Okay, thank you for introduction. I will give a talk in English because most of my slides are in English, and also I will talk about technology, and it's much easier to talk about technology in English than in Croatian. And the third reason is that we have our guests here, so in order for them to be clear what I'm talking about, I will stick with English. And actually this is a very good slot for having a talk, because after coffee, I think this coffee will keep you awakened if I get bored. Anyway, as Elizabeth, or your name? Eleonora, sorry. As Eleonora said, I'm coming from Faculty of Electrical Engineering and Computing. My name is Stjepan Bogdan, and I'm a professor at this university. I work in a laboratory for robotics and intelligent control systems. And today I will present you research that mostly is done in relation with Industry 4.0, and project that I will introduce are financed through the Horizon 2020 and FP7 framework. There are other projects as well that we do in our faculty, in our lab, but since let's say the topic is Industry 4.0, I decided to focus on those projects. This is my lab. At the moment, I mean, this is not a lab. Those are the people that work in the lab. At the moment, we have 11 researchers, 3 professors, 3 postdocs, 5 PhD students, and more than 50 students at the bachelor and master levels. We are not the only lab at faculty that is working on robotics research. We have 2 other laboratories. One is Laboratory for Autonomous System and Mobile Robots. This laboratory is led by Professor Petrovic, and the third one is Laboratory for Underwater Systems and Technologies that is led by Professor Vukic and Professor Mišković. So those 3 laboratories... Okay. So those 3 laboratories... I used to speak very fast, sorry. Okay, we'll try to keep it slower. Those 3 laboratories are working in a robotics research field and also autonomous system field of research. And last 2 or 3 years we tried to brand our name like robotics at Verha HR. And here you can also see there is a logo of Innovation Center Nikola Tesla. During the morning it has been mentioned several times, gap between the faculties, academia and industries. You mentioned Death Valley, so we all know how difficult it is to transfer knowledge and innovations that come from the university to the industry. And that's a specific reason why Faculty of Electrical Engineering and Computing established Innovation Center Nikola Tesla. FAIR, my faculty, is 100% owner of ICEN, and the main task and the main goal of this new center is to transfer all that we get through research for the project that I will show you in a few minutes to the industry. So those 4 entities, 3 laboratories and innovation center, work together to put whatever we gain during research to the industry. There has been lots of talk about Industry 4.0. And this is the only slide that I have about Industry 4.0 because most of you know everything about Industry 4.0. So what we can consider this Industry 4.0 is actually, we can see this as a second phase of digitalization. First phase of this digitalization started late 70s when computers get into the factories and also robots get into the factories. So this was the first step in digitalization. And now we start with the second step, which is basically nothing else but networking. So, you know, we all have mobile devices, we all network, we all talk to each other, but in the years that will come, the main goal is to enable devices to talk to each other. Autonomous vehicles on the roads, they will talk with each other without knowledge of the person that drives the vehicle, that there is some communication between other vehicles. Also, robots will talk with machines, machines will talk with other machines. So this is all about networking, and what we'll get finally, we will get huge manufacturing system that is actually networked. Then, second point in Industry 4.0 is availability of huge amount of information. So we have to learn how we are going to use this huge amount of information. Actually, how our machines will use this huge amount of information. So this is the second thing that Industry 4.0 is about. A third one is this one here. It's decentralization. At the moment, currently in industry, usually you have a central system, central computer or central server that actually communicates with all other devices and actually control everything. So in case something goes wrong with this central part of the system, all system fails. The main idea is to decentralize everything and to be able to make decision on site. Each robot, each vehicle should be able to make decision by itself. Finally, is autonomy and also individualization of stuff that we produce. So nowadays you can order a car with particular color, particular seats, particular engine. In the future we will go even further, so you will be able, industry will be able to produce product just for you, and this will be your product. Okay, so this is about Industry 4.0, and now I will start with the project that currently we have, and also that we had in the near past, and also project that we prepare. As I said, those projects are financed through the Horizon 2020 and Framework 7 program of the European Commission. And here are the titles. Today I will describe those 4 projects that are here on the slide. First one is a project that is completed. It was financed by Framework 7 program, and the project is about, as I said, networking of devices. So we have 7 partners in the project, and we were actually, our task was to put this framework into warehouse. So I will show you how we did this with the autonomous guided vehicles. Second project is related to introduction of a human in such an environment. So if you have only devices at the factory floor, of course we have to keep those devices secure, not to bump to each other, but if we have a human inside such an environment, this is a completely different level. So this project here, so this project here handles how to introduce human in such sophisticated environment. Finally, last 2 projects that I will describe are related to the robot usage at the grinding process for SME company. We talked today a lot about also how we can industrialize SMEs. Huge companies like automotive industry, level of automation is very, very high, but small companies that have 10, 20 people, automation level is very, very low. So what we would like to do, we would like to produce Industry 4.0 also to those SMEs. And the second one also is related to small company that actually work on warehouses. Okay, so this is a project that is completed. This is F-Mobile. As I said, what we wanted to do, we wanted to provide a framework for distributed decision making for many, many entities that work together. This was our part here, warehousing systems. Okay, if you have a warehouse that is automated, and if you have autonomous guided vehicles, then this thing looks like this. So what you have to solve in such a system, first, you have to be able to make dynamic routing, which means a system is decentralized, your vehicle should be able to dynamically, online, decide what they will do. So for example, if there's some pallet that is ready to be picked by the vehicle and transferred somewhere out of the production line, then this robot cell will initiate a mission that should be completed by one of those vehicles. The question is, which one will take this mission? The one that is the closest, the one that is the battery level highest. So there must be some kind of mechanism how you are going to decide this. And this is called dynamic routing. Also, dynamic routing has part which is called collision avoidance. You don't want your vehicles to bump to each other, and also you must keep humans safe. So you need to have those safety measures. And finally, this deadlock prevention means that you don't want your system to stuck in particular point, like 2 persons on a bridge. If it's a lady and a gentleman, then it's very easy because gentlemen will say, okay, lady, you first. But if there are 2 gentlemen, then it's quite difficult to decide who will go over the bridge first. And this is kind of deadlock situation. We can wait for 1 hour who will go first. So we have to prevent this as well. We worked on the project. I'm not going to details. This is theoretical stuff, just to show that each vehicle has which we call personal area, so non-vehicle is allowed to get to those personal areas, and in that way we are able to avoid all this that I said in the last slide. This is experiment in Italian partner, so the name of the company is Aero Impianti. It's in Verona, in Italy. Here you can see 6 vehicles that simultaneously drive and we provide experiments to check those deadlock situation, decision making, and so on. This is implementation of our system in a cable company, also in Italy. Here you can see this is cell, robotic cell that put cables on a pallet. When pallet is ready, vehicle comes, pick this one, and then goes out. So there are humans in environment, there are other vehicles, so we have to keep all this. Overall, in the last 3 years, 12 such systems have been implemented, and the most important one for us was candy facility, Haribo candies, you know. We enjoyed this implementation, really. This was the best one. Cable factory, nobody likes cable factory. Okay, second project is SafeLock. This is the acronym of the... Okay, I have 20 minutes, so... Sorry. Okay, second project is SafeLock. So as I said, this is a project which is related to the algorithms and methods how to keep a human being safe within such sophisticated environment. So what we have, we developed, this is ongoing projects. So we have a 3-year project, now 1.5 years passed, and the goal is to provide safety concepts that will keep person in a healthy state, even though there are lots of those automated guided vehicles. One of the ways how we can do this, it's this safety vest. So it's a vest that workers has to have on the factory floor. So we would like to put in this vest mobile devices, sensors, and all those gadgets that we have on ourselves on a daily basis. We would like to protect workers in that way, so the factory floor, actually, these decentralized units will know in every point in time where a particular worker is. Also, we will have a sensor that will be able to send information about the position of the worker. So if worker fails, for example, on the floor, information will be sent on, or if there is a worker that stands still for 20 minutes, this is not good for a worker because we'll know that he doesn't or she doesn't do anything. So it's legal issue, protection and so on that also has been mentioned here, so we have to take care about this, but this is not our task. Finally, since we had experience by working on the previous project about fleet management, so decision making, providing deadlocks, we also have a task on the fleet management. Those vehicles are much smaller than the vehicles that we used in the previous project, but still concepts are pretty much the same. And finally, our goal is to use augmented reality in a way that, for example, if something goes wrong with a particular vehicle, if there's a malfunction in the vehicle, then vehicle should be able to do self-assessment, send information to the worker, and then before coming on site to check what is wrong with the vehicle, worker will know everything about the failure that happened on the vehicle, and by using particular augmented reality, this worker will see, let's say, inside the vehicle, and it will actually open a particular part that is necessary for vehicle to be fixed. Continuing with the two projects, the last one that are in preparation. This project is done together with a small company that has 30 workers, and idea is to robotize the process that they have for grinding surface areas. So this is a very unhealthy environment because those parts are made of plastic, and when you grind the plastic, there is lots of dust, and it's very unhealthy. So we would like to put robots in this kind of environment. Robots will have a main task will be grinding, and also we would like to do automated quality inspection. So how this is done now, workers use particular devices, go over the surface and measure particular points of the surface in order to be able to know if the surface is ground nicely. We would like to use lasers that are at the top of the robot. So by using this laser, robot will just pass over the plastic part, and we will get 3D model of the part and know if it's okay or if it's not. Then, second part of the project is related to human-oriented machine interface. Nowadays, teaching a robot is done, usually you have a particular kind of console, like a toy. You play with this, you move robotic arm, and then when robotic arm is in a particular position, you just click, okay, this is point 1, point 2, point 3, and in that way you program the robot. Idea is to enable a person to pick the robot hand and to move directly robot hand in position when this robot should be. So in that way, there will be direct relation between a robot, between a human and a robot. So instead of using console, robot will be moved by person. So this is also part of the project. And finally, we would like to enable collaborative work between a human and the robot. There are parts that are particularly rigid, and a force that should be applied in order to grind this particular part is very, very high. So a person should lean on the part, and it's very time-consuming and difficult job for a human. What we would like to do, we would like to use precision of a human and the strength of a robot. So by using strength of a robot, person should be able to very easy just to put the robotic arm on a surface, and then the robot will implement the force. In that way, it will be much easier for the person to be done. What we expect to impact for this particular company, now they have 2 products that they do online. We would like to increase this number to 3 products. Later on, since the project will be for 12 months, later on maybe even more products. Second thing that we would like to achieve is that we should be able to treat larger amount of a surface, which means nowadays there are parts of a surface that must be treated by person because it should be done very, very precise. So we would like to increase this to 60%, which means that almost huge amount of those parts should be treated by a robot. And finally, last 2 slides. This is the second project also for a small company. You know that in warehousing, where during the morning, usually this job starts at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. People go in warehouse, collect products, they have a list for a particular store, so they pick Coca-Cola, chips and whatever, put on a pallet, then pallet goes to the ramp, then truck comes, takes this pallet, and then by 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning, this pallet should be in the store. So those people wake up usually 1 in the morning, work until 4 or 5 in the morning, and then go home. Very difficult job. So what we would like to do, we would like to use robotic arm that is on the robot vehicle, and then this robotic arm together with the robot should be able to pick those parts, put on a pallet, and the pallet should be autonomously driven to the ramp. Nowadays, those workers not only pick the stuff, but they also push vehicle that is maybe 100, 150 kilos heavy from the warehouse to the ramp. Again, this is what we would like to do. We hope to help workers. Also, we hope that we should be able to monitor process in real time to know exactly where each worker is and how much time it takes for the particular part to go to the ramp and so on. And finally, of course, all about Industry 4.0 and networking is to increase the quality of stuff that you do. Okay, thank you very much. Sorry for speech.
Thank you. Well, I ask you if you have any question already.
Yeah.
Nice. Here we have it.
But talk slowly.
Don't worry.
Stjepane, Bog. Ja bi samo imao si onaj slajd sa 4 verzije industrije.
Okay.
Yeah, it was at the beginning.
Yeah,
that's a typical slide that everybody has, this one. I have a question for you. Where are we?
U Hrvatskoj.
In Croatia.
Ne može se reći ovoga...
We can't say that generally which position we hold. I don't know whether I can mention the name of the company. So there is a company called WATIFY, and they are leaders in satellite communication. They have their subsidiary in Luxembourg. They work here, and I think they have been operating for 14, maybe up to 20 years. So with them I learned that something like that consists in Croatia. This company produces metal parts for Westinghouse, and they are the only ones that can do that in the world. On the other hand, you know that use hammers to make aluminum foils, so I'm sure we're not here, and we will not get there very quickly.
I must admit I got the mic a bit too late, so I understood only the last part.
Question not related to where we are in Croatian. So
okay.
Related to those 4 steps. And I think that there is no general answer to this, because there are companies that are at the top. Some of those are at the top 5 in Europe. For example, one of those I mentioned here is an example of a company that work on satellite communication. They have office in Luxembourg, so in the top 5 in Europe. There are other companies that actually do with the hammer stuff.
Still.
So still. So and we are not here. That's what I know.
That what you.
Yeah.
Any other question?
Yes, please.
No, I
have
no.
One question: when we talk about robots, when we talk about them, will they replace humans? What will happen to humans? I have been to attended several presentations, and robotization was always presented as something like employment of people. How is this possible? I share the second opinion. So when you look through the history and the history of the great masters, so
I have translation. No worries.
So if we look backwards and analyze the technological achievements, what happened was that the development of technology never brought any economic problems. Economic crashes helped because of malversations in banking sector. If there's any bankers here, don't. I'm sorry, I apologize. The first thing happens with cars. When there were the car industry didn't exist then. There were forgers. And all of them actually moved to car industry. So let's go back to robots, or maybe mobile phones. When I was at the university with my colleague, if anyone told me back then that there will be a job called mobile app developer, what would that be? What's mobile? What's developer? The job as such did not exist at all. When I graduated, we had those huge mobile phones, if you remember, which we had to carry around, and now you have like a tiny one in your pocket. And everybody was talking that when the computers will take over, we won't need any secretaries or any similar jobs, but this didn't happen. So technological developments just change people, but they can't replace them entirely, because they also bring an additional value and do not extinct others. If you imagine a car in 1910 running down the street, driving faster, that was a crucial moment. I don't think there will be any such crucial moments in the next future. There will be only what will have only jobs that will be replaced by the others.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think it's indeed one of the main takes is a very complex transition, right? And it would be quite unfair, I think, to say that there will be no, I mean, there will be probably winner and losers, but
as always,
but probably there is really no way back. That's the...
You cannot stop technology.
Exactly.
No.
So, thank you very much, Stefan.
Thank you.
And here we will move up. Okay. And here we move to the last one. Now try to switch to the last presentation before lunch. And actually, also the last presentation that we have today. Well, we have a small workshop, just some question and answers that we still have pending. But I switch it again to, oh no, Jordi, other two presentations. But I think I have a small problem with 2 hands on the and one. Thank you very much. So is Jordi's presentation on the demo case on polymers, smart polymers.
This one?
Yes, it's in the folder, right?
Yeah.
Can you show me? Jordi, this one? Is
This
one?
folder. Sorry. This is
Second.
perfect.
Voilà, one mic to you.
So you will have to cope with me again. Second run time today. But people are talking about the same. I'm giving some specific example of what I've been describing before. Specific pilot plant we are developing, and under the demo case we are coordinating ESM pilot project in Vanguard Initiative. So as I said before, I am coming from a technological center called EURECAT in Catalonia. We are one of the main coordinators of advanced manufacturing in Catalonia. Okay, we are coordinating the cluster, myself indeed. And we are the promoters of this demo case, Advanced and Sustainable Surface and Material Technologies for Functional Polymers. In short, technologies for functional polymers. Okay. So, to explain a little bit more about our demo case inside Vanguard and to get into the practical details of what we have been doing and what you can take as an example on our part. Our demo case focused on functional components in polymer materials, and we use a lot of development, upscaling, and integration of advanced materials and sustainable process. Okay, so mainly we deal with polymers and polymer composites, sustainable manufacturing technologies, nanotechnologies, surface enhancements, substitution of critical toxic materials, and renewable resources in our framework. Okay. So this is the general approach. We deal with hybrid processing, like printed electronics, plastic processing, coating and surface treatments, nanotechnologies, texturing materials and composites, new materials like inks, dyes, biopolymers, new efficient processes like plasma treatments, photopolymerization, all regarding green and sustainable manufacturing in this regard. Photonics, for example, for sure, and tooling, advanced tooling, and data management. All these are enabling technologies applied on our specific market, that is the development of functional components based on polymeric materials. Okay, so it's a broad thing, but with specific capacities and technologies to be developed. It is an emerging market, an emerging need. Transversal to many sectors, and based upon developing technologies, some existing, some new ones, that need to be tested and put it together to get these new products, new solutions into the market. Okay. Here you have a mapping of what are the demanding markets and users, and you will see that it's very transversal. A lot of markets, a lot of industries demand functional plastic polymeric materials components, automotive for sure, white goods and appliances, biotech, health, food sector, packaging, optic photonics that are components of the other. Why? Because they need decorative or aesthetic parts. Why? Because they want active sensors or response interfaces. Because they need self-healing or self-cleaning or tailored properties in the surface, because they need optical performance of these plastic parts, so extra functions on a plastic part that make it functional, but mainly that it makes it added value product. So it's high value, high money, margin for a big competitive power for our plastic processing industry and end users. Okay? And these are the enabled technologies that need to be developed and transferred to the market. Technologies in material processing, development, technologies in surface processing, technologies in plastic processing that they have to be, and technologies in the in the end of life and recovery processing of the materials. So all of these some are already in the market but need to be upgraded or adapted to new materials, alternating techniques. Some of them have to be hybridized, so combined in the value chain specifically to adapt again. Others are very new. They come out of the laboratories, the scientific researchers, and need to be upscaled and tested into the market. So this is the framework of a demo case. It's a need, an industrial need, a global demand, a value chain that has to be developed, and new technologies to be tested and transferred. Okay? So it's a common goal for large part of demanding sectors and providers. Here you have some examples of use cases, okay, where we put innovation value chain and manufacturing supply chain together, collaborating to create this environment at a local level, but it can be also at European level. So for example, we have all the providers in nanotechnology, all the pilot operators that can test these nanotechnologies to upscale at the TRL to transfer to the market. We have the material developers and manufacturers that enables these nanomaterials to reach the scale demanded by the final market, because if we only stay here, we cannot bring something into the market, and we need somebody to provide this. So we have to collaborate with the providers, with the industry, and the processing to adapt the technologies we test and develop in the pilot procedures, because the end market, end users, demand these solutions. And for example, some cases, a final market demands a hard and protective nanostructured coating upon an injection molded part. Why? Because it demands it to be textured, to be self-cleaning, for example. So it's a plastic part, when it's an outside part of a car or a construction or a building, and it needs to be self-cleaning. So you need somebody to make a tooling nanotextured, so it can be transferred to a film, and then to injection part, and then protected and covered by a coating in order to maintain this nanotexturing, for example. So you need several people and capacities in between. So for example, you can have a tool maker in Catalonia, you can have a film producer in Italy, for example, the injector in Germany, and the end, the coating producer in, Portugal. So the end, we need capacities that are not only in a region, and we have to connect them, network them, help them to generate the technology to reach the market, and to connect them to make the whole value chain, enabling a final product. Because there is a market demanding that. We have also other use case based on the combination of printed electronics into a film, into a plastic part, to have finally a protective coating, into having a surface for control in a car. Okay? So this is the kind of functional parts we are thinking to develop. The market is demanding, but we need to come up with different capacities and technologies that are not yet in the market and that probably are not the whole capacity in a certain area or region. So we need to develop all the industries in different regions to connect and to have the final solution. Okay? We initially focused mainly in surface and coating complementaries with injection, but we also developed other new use cases based, for example, in polymeric nanocomposites for lightweight, and also biopolymers, and also functional polymer textiles. So we are developing our demo case. Initially we focused mainly to the first one use case, but we are opening these 2 new ones, and this is what we come here to invite you to join us or to develop new use cases, new ideas of demanding markets in polymer sector where new technologies, new sustainable processes can develop final products that impact your industry combined with industries of other regions and countries in Europe. Okay. In our case, we started collaborating mainly Lombardy and Catalonia again. Okay. Lombardy focusing on their industry and sustainable coating and technologies, and Catalonia mainly in plastic processing. So the industry, our regions had first meetings, first ideas, common interest, and gathered that into specific strategic areas of technology and sectors. These are the core partners where we have developed into other and network several regions over on Alps, Netherlands, Navarra in Spain, etc. So we are also in talks to increase our critical mass in our pilot, in our demo case in the pilot. Okay, but for sure we are open and welcoming new regions. So it's also one of our interests on coming here and explaining you all this to make you think if it's in your interest, if you have critical mass companies interested in joining this or other demo cases into the pilot TSM backwards. So this is the first thing you have to reflect. You have to gather your industry in your region, in your country, reflect on what are your capacities, what are your demands, what are your strategic goals that you can share transversally, different as actors and providers and industry, so that you can come to different goals that you can promote pilot plans that cover a demand and network that at European level. Okay. For example, in our case, we focus mainly in hybrid processes and technology upscaling for functional plastic injection. So several end users, an automotive sector or electrodomestics said that they need functional components in plastic. We have technology providers that are developing solutions, partial solutions, laser manufacturing, coatings, films, etc., or equipment for this processing. And we have research and innovation actors, universities, research centers, us, like a technological center, that we generate an ecosystem that collaborates, gather into a common goal, a common idea, and puts forward the needs of a common infrastructure and common collaborative projects already in our region, but also with the prospect of joining other regions at the European level, that we can, as we cannot have the whole capacities and possibilities, we have to join forces with other regions that complement us. That we did with Lombardy initially, and we have promoting this with other regions to cover as much as possible the value chain. Okay? And Lombardy did the same and come up with all these interest
global interest in the region in advanced coatings. So they have potential end users also, technological providers, and researchers providers. But in the end, maybe end users of Italy need a provider in Catalonia that collaborates with 2 research innovation sector players in both regions, or other regions that join. So that's the kind of networking that can help you and contribute to joining this kind of environment, apart from, as I said, the initial goal of merging efforts and strategic goals at your region. Okay? So that's what we are already doing in other use cases, like in the composites and lightweight applications. We are developing this core partnership in each of the regions for specific technology capacities and reach through. Here we have more details on what is the strategic proposition we started with in our regions. For example, we started with, we want to work in molded electronics, so smart electronics, putting technologies into plastic parts, or nanotexturing, so functionalization of the surfaces, or nano textures and nano structures of the surface that can give colors or mechanical behavior. Okay, but in the end, what we want is the generation of our R&D infrastructure in Catalonia for pilot manufacturing capacities on developing new products and processes for high added value plastic parts, because we have a final end user market demanding this transversal, because we have providers already developing technologies, and we need a common infrastructure to test this and help to transfer the new technologies into the market, into the final real products. Okay, so we come together, it's a network, co-investing, joining forces into this common R&D pilot manufacturing. We call it R&D, but at the end is final steps of R&D. It's testing and developing. It's not a laboratory, it's an industrial scale-up. Okay? We did that just using an already existing pilot site. As I said, I'm coming from a technological center where we started 30 years ago just testing molds for injection companies. So the mold sector of Catalonia joined forces and co-invest into a laboratory to test their molds before sending that to the end users, the injectors. Okay? So in the end, it was already a pilot plan 30 years ago without the concept going, but it was covering a need. There's a market demanded the test of a tooling for improving their products. Okay? So we just use this capacity that is still ongoing 30 years. We have to upgrade that pilot site and connect this with other laboratories and capacities in the area that facilitates that jump into model electronics and nanotexturing. So we are collaborating with laboratories with clean rooms for nanoprint and silicon microelectronics, femtolaser mechanization, but we have sites, physical sites, that can do pilot production, that can help in product design and help you in product scaling, and also train your operators and did consultancy for your products. So it's, in the end, you generate a hub, a kind of environment, people working together with the industry, with innovators, with researchers, merge into a common ground, a facility that helps these ideas to get into the market, because nobody can test that into their industrial site or invest before knowing that it's worthwhile. So this final gap, if the technology can be applied into your product competitively in costs, in reliability, needs to be done in a pilot industrial scale-up facility, open to all the industry. Okay? At the same time, nobody did the same for the coating technologies. Some of them are already in the market, but they need extra things. But they focus on this sterile 6, 7, 8, 9 thing. That's the concept of pilot. Okay? I wouldn't say that much. I will say that in their case, they are planning a new one facility, collaborating with the upgrading of an industrial site. So each region has to map their actual capacities and try to make them maximize their use and upgrade, but if they need to generate new facilities that cover some interests and needs and strategic goals for them, it's what it's all about, to create the capacity to do that, okay? But also, always with the push of industry. Don't create something just for research, no, because there is a need in the market and because there are providers there that need you to help them, okay? And second jump is to connect these capacities in regions together in a network. Super regional, okay? We did that with Lombardy. We have projects ongoing where companies from Italy need our capacities here, but then end up in the coding of their capacities, and we collaborate this, and we are amplifying this to other regions, as I said. So welcome there. This is the path that we have been doing, and the example that we share with you of our knowledge on how to develop and to deploy this concept of pilots and how it helps our local industry. Okay? Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Jordan. Before I ask questions, any questions from your side on how this happens? Because for me it was a very clear picture of how you basically do the matching and how the structure takes place, like how you map the capabilities, how you map
you
competence.
Should start with that, just trying to know what you have already in your ongoing in your area, in your region, in your country, what capacities you have, what needs you have that match, and then grow up from that. Just join forces with the willing. You need a willing sector, an industrial sector, at least a core group that makes sense for them to come together and to pay efforts into this regard. If not, it makes no sense.
Yeah, I think we can. Thank you. I'm going
So question, what percentage of the budget is given by taxpayers' money, and what percentage of budget comes from the companies that you just showed there, SMEs? How much
it's difficult to tell to have an answer on that, but in the end, companies co-invest. So as you have seen, there are providers. So they make the investment on their new facilities and new capacities there. But for sure, there is also some taxpayer money for these facilities. In each case, you have to adapt to your local environment and sources. So it's difficult to explain, but it's a co-investment, public and private. Because in the end, if it's strategic for the region, policy makers in administration has to invest. But that has to invest because there is a strategic position of your industry. And and if there is a strategic thing for your industry, they have to also put their money there. So at the end, it's both needed. Okay? Administration doesn't jump into if you don't show core critical mass of industry. At least it's our knowledge. Already collaborating and putting some money there and saying, okay, apart from my money, I need more. We have the initial critical mass, but we need help from you to develop into a next level and to compete globally. Okay, so for example, the familiar as me invested 600,000 euros in a new femtolaser machine. Wait, why? Because it makes sense for them, for the business. But this asset is a differentiating value for the whole sector. And like this, you can see a lot of things.
I would like to say hello and thank you for your. I would like to greet you and thank you for your presentation. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Okay, please.
Thank you very much for your presentation, and I have a small question. You have partners. From what area, considering the polymers, textile, auto industry, electronics, which are most of your partners? We start with textile, and where do you end?
We started from plastic processing sector in Catalonia's part, so mostly injection players or packaging, automotive sectors. We have also textile players also for other use cases, and we're starting to do that. But I will say we need complementarities with other regions, so we cannot cover every case, every solution, every technology. So, for example, solutions in tooling, we don't have the complete thing. Solutions in biomaterials, we are not covering this from our region. Solutions in measuring technologies for processes, or making it intelligent, or robotics, complementary technologies, or textile, nano-functional textiles. We are not covering this yet. But even in the fields that we are covering, maybe the needs of your industry here complements ours, or there is several providers that are not yet considering our value chain and can be providers of our companies in Italy, Catalonia, or whatever. So the thing is opportunity window. There is something ongoing. You can, I will tell you, map your capacities, your realities, your assets, your needs. And maybe there are solutions that we can provide to your industry, and your industry can provide to our existing network. Okay?
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Jordi. Now, Renata, really, I welcome on stage the hosts. So, Renata from the Chamber of Commerce and Mladen Perkov from the Cluster Intelligence and Intelligent Energy of Zagreb. So I welcome you both on stage to introduce us to what is happening really here, what are the initiatives and the working group that you are that are ongoing right now, right? Thank you. Thank you. You're better than me with this computer.
I will just continue. I'm Renata Papec. I'm the head of the Greenomed project on behalf of the Varaždin Chamber of Economy. I will continue on Jordi's presentation, and some of my slides are actually common to his, and I will skip them in that matter, and I will focus on what is important and what applies to Varaždin Chamber of Economy. I have also heard that Mladen, who will present after me, has a very interesting presentation on behalf of the Cluster of Intelligent Energy. You have heard about the Greenomed project, and I would only like to add that the partnership consists of two types of partners. One are those that participated in the Vanguard project from Catalonia, from Lombardy, and And those partners that participated from regions who have not yet joined the Vanguard initiative, the Ronald region and Slovenia, Greece, Central Macedonia, and Mark, and of course Croatia. In these regions, Vanguard initiative would like to spread its application, and the partners that are already present in the initiative are here with us as our mentors. So our mentors come from Catalonia. We also had several contacts with Fraunhofer, but they had to leave the project because the project is co-financed from Interreg Mediterranean, and Germany is not a partner in this program. What is most important here are pilot plans. And as for the Varaždin Chamber of Economy, I can say that we don't have any infrastructure, and as Professor Stefanic said, in the future huge funds will be allocated to such pilot plans, so our future projects can be planned, and we are getting ready for these projects, and we are developing type of demo case that will be then applied as a pilot plant. The network, this is the existing network of demo cases from Vanguard initiative. You can see that demo centers have been organized in regions that are more like industrially developed. In Slovenia, Slovenia has already joined the Vanguard initiative, so the network has been spread to Slovenia, and next year I hope that it will be also present in Croatia. What is the position of the Varaždin Chamber of Economy in all this? These are the steps that Jody also explained before. So we have to identify the key technology challenges up to implementation of the business plan for the next or the following demo center or pilot project. What is most important for us at this particular moment, what we are trying to do with our companies is to identify the topics that they are interested in. We do have a highly diversified industry, and we have sector leaders in food industry to nano companies that are global leaders in some market niches. We have focused on the very wide topics of the industry for our area, and we are trying to connect companies that need help and that need to connect and are looking for networking with other companies and provide assistance to them. Some steps have been already completed in that matter. There are also certain topics that we are working on and which are important for future development of future economic development of this region, so we will also have to focus on them. Also, this here today is also one of the options that we are trying, by which we are trying to use our group and identify the needs and interests of Varaždin County economy. The business plan and the implementations of pilot project and demo centers is our wish for the future. In our project we will focus on these topics, so cycle production, smart production, digital and virtual factory, which already exists as a demo case already, and which is already providing a horizontal aid to other demo cases, advanced technology of sustainable surfaces and materials for functional polymers. This is the demo case that Jody has just presented, and energy sufficiency, efficiency. These are the topics within which we can ask for assistance and find partners. This is one of the slides that we have already seen. As for this slide, as a chamber, we will stop on the level of use cases. We will try to help companies in certain with certain technologies, and we will try to help certain companies in certain sectors. Within this environment, it's a win-win situation, and we are looking for a feedback from industry so that we can develop policies developed at the ministerial levels, and as for the companies and entrepreneurs, we would like to enable access to most advanced topics in the EU and provide environments that are applicable to them. These are this is a map of other demo cases, circular production in Lombardy, and this is Fraunhofer map for energy efficiency. This is the demo case that you have already seen for polymers with Catalonia as the leading partner. And my last slide shows what we want to do now and actually involve all these activities into B2B business dialogues, and we hope that we will be able to provide this for you, that we will be able to provide for companies certain levels where they can see how things get done. And of course, I'm thankful for Mrs. Katarski from the University of Zagreb that provided a huge aid for us and assistance, because researchers are of utmost importance for us, and they have a very important role in this project. So now I would give the floor to Mladen.
Tell you what, Renata provided me with a challenge. I have to be exciting. It's not very easy. Hello. Welcome. My name is Mladen Perkov. I'm manager of the Intelligent Energy Cluster. Let me say a few words about the cluster. It started in 2009. These were all the members of the cluster. Currently we have 55 members, 2 agencies, two faculties, and the others are SMEs. And here we can see what they can do together. About 2,000 employees in all of the members, about 1.5 billion kuna of turnover. Here we have some knowledges and skills that they can provide. At the back we have advanced marketing, smart grid. Sounds very clever. Why monitoring? Because there's nothing smart without monitoring. In any moment, any time, we should know what's going on with something or somebody. To be able to achieve that, we need a lot of sensors. Let's say our body is very smart, always know how we feel, where we are, and it has a biological and chemical processes which are very smart. Why monitor? Here's why. Because we don't want to be in that dark spot down there. If there is a situation that we can ascertain previously, and we can do so by knowing at any time and at any place what is going on with a certain plant, we shall not arrive at the black dot down there. What happens there? I'll show you a nice picture later on. What can monitoring do for us? Not only in the cases that I will show, but the very idea that if such a pilot project is implemented should be developed in other aspects and elements more wide than the ones I'm showing. Monitoring as such increases the efficiency of a plant, its productivity, and makes it longer lasting. It positively impacts the duration of equipment. So say it's 20 years, maybe with good monitoring it can be prolongated to 25 years. What happens if we use some equipment for 25 instead of 20 years? We don't have to recycle it, be it indium, silica or any other material, we don't have to recycle it. And finally, of course, monitoring reduces maintenance costs. This is what happens if you get to that black dot that I've shown you. Nobody wants to be there. But if you wonder when you've seen this or something like it, well, it happens because we weren't timely, we weren't careful. Very much so, yes. This is what happens. There is an error, and that is something that we don't want to happen. We want to keep what we used to have. This is cost. When you see something like that, somebody has to pay for it. We're not always willing or happy with paying for that. So monitoring could help with that. Where can this be implemented? Here is a good example. Hydropower. Renata said how in this part of Croatia there is no chance for a project like this. Quite the contrary. Very close to us, we have 3 hydro plants, not very small, rather significant actually for the entire energy system of Croatia, where monitoring can be implemented and physically a demo case, not just an imagined pilot project. It can be a live-in lab or anything of the sort. So we do have an opportunity to implement this very close to Varaždin. And all these little orange circles are the sensors that we've mentioned. Different sensors provide information about the plant, in this case the generated turbines, and we don't get to the black dot. Same thing can be implemented in thermal power plants. We don't have them here, but we said that we like renewables, so let's talk about hydro generation. But it can also be used on gas turbines. In particular, this is a scheme of a monitoring system. All these buses can be whatever, voltage of a distribution field, of a generation plant. It can be monitoring of primary equipment in 400 kilovolt station. It can be anything. But you will at any moment, in real time, be able to tell what the situation is with your primary equipment. When we talk about the primary equipment, and that's the expensive one, for instance, a generator, a transformer, a turbine, switch, power lines, those are expensive. The ratio of this and the primary equipment is 1 to 5, up to 1 to 10. So if we say that we can prolong a useful lifetime of a transformer from 30 to 35 or 40 years, this is very important. This, of course, depends on the transformer strength. The same thing goes for switches, power lines, pylons as well. If you remember the catastrophes in Gorski Kotar, maybe if there was monitoring, perhaps some of that equipment could have been saved. Perhaps we could have acted on time. It happened, we had that black dot, and then it took us 2 years to come back to baseline. Whatever you put into this smart network, we can monitor it, but only if we have the sensors for it. Whatever we have sensors for, we can monitor. This is a concrete product of a Croatian company selling it from America to Australia. This is just the basis for monitoring, which during Greenomed until 2019 could be improved by Croatian firms or those from Austria, Spain, Greece, or any other country. Everybody needs this. It's just a matter of how much, where, etc. Everyone needs to find their own reason for it. Those who have a lot of power generation plants need a lot of this. Those who don't need a bit less. But this is not only power plants. Tell me, who among you wouldn't like to monitor the energy he or she is spending in the home? No, everybody would like to know. That's one example. Everybody needs that. Why not make a simple monitoring system where you can monitor your consumption of water, energy, electric energy, gas, pellets, whatever you're using. Monitoring is a thing that enables you to know that information. This is a platform utilizing modern technology. Here we have hydro plant monitoring, and here we have the values that are being monitored. We've been talking about clouds, mentioned clouds, Internet of Things. This is all contained in here. All that is technology that is to be applied or is currently applied in such situations. It can be distributed, dislocated, and systems like that can integrate all that. This is a concrete view of what we do. We were talking about real time based on data. Of course, what we get is big data, enormous amount of data are arriving, and this system is processing them and applying them to the turbine and suggests activities needed not to get to the black dot. I hope it was sweet. I don't know. It was exciting. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It was, oops, 1 second. I get rid of this now because I don't know. Okay. So, thank you very much for the presentation. What I really retain is monitoring is really needed, and it is true, and it brings really back to the sustainable part of our meeting today. So, I ask, as usual, if there are any specific questions on the last presentations. So that's maybe now we have still some time, I think.
Awesome. And now it's 23.
Maybe 10 minutes. I made some notes because we were supposed in our agenda to have these small workshops with all the speakers. I don't know if you prefer to come all year or I just wanted to launch some questions back to you all actually. And some of them are, I was wondering about sectors, and it reconnects about a little bit to your question before. In Croatia, what are the sectors that you really see that would be more willing, more open to pick all these enabling technologies in your economy? I heard about food, I heard about other sectors here that I picked up, but I would really like to know from you, where do you see this is really happening and where do you see this is still lacking? Something maybe
Related to our region, this is a very good example. Let us wait for the translation. So our region is a very good example of what is going to happen. When we are analyzing the structure in Varaždin county, the members of the Croatian Chamber of Economy employ over 40,000 people, and over 55% of them are small companies, and not the large ones. So, work-intensive industry with low added value is the dominating industry, and we have to survive on that. But we also have to encourage the development of new technologies and encourage the existing companies to implement these new technologies. One of the examples that show us in a very primitive but very illustrative way is what does it mean to implement the technology. For example, here we have processing industry in the domain of food industry. There is a big business system in India, and to compare with them we have other processing companies like food, leather processing, textile processing. The largest company here produces leather products for car industry. They employ 3,000 people. In food industry or food processing industry, there are about 12% of, I guess, population, I think, and they produce 24% of income or revenues. In other industries, they, for example, employ 30% of inhabitants, but they produce or they gain like 30% of turnover. So this ratio of turnover and the number of employees depends. So because the technological level of technology in the food industry is rather high. And if we go to, for example, now if we visit the leather industry, or one of them industry, there is no people in the plants because the technology does not need them. I think that they need what we were talking today. They may need to get involved to become a part of the network, and they need this wide networking among them. All these companies which we live from, they do have options for implementation of these technologies, and the options are and the possibility, opportunities are really wide. So we are trying to show the leaders, the managers of these companies, trying to show them how they could adapt these new technologies to them. So in brief, what you asked, to answer your question, is there are two trends in which we are trying to be the most active. So in existing industries, we are trying to encourage to take this route and to implement these technologies, smart technologies and the similar ones. And on the other hand, we are also encouraging startups from software and traditional technologies and productions, because those that survive are really become global players. The situation here, I would also like to ask somebody here in the audience. A few years ago, we almost found ourselves in a situation that we would be on the route of large sunstorms. We were lucky, and we were not under the influence of that. And our energy system can crash because of them. What would be the alternatives in such a situation? Can these new technologies that are networked over the internet, in such a catastrophic situations, are there alternatives for this? Or maybe in these situations, will it happen that the backup systems are at all applicable for large systems? What might happen? What could happen then? Let's imagine that this is possible, maybe once in 100 years, and even if it happens once in 100 years, there are definitely things that are dear to us once in 100 years, for example. So heart patients, hemodialysis and stuff. In such situations, we have to think if these technologies exist for critical situations when it comes to human lives, of course. So I'm sure that there are backup plans, and I'm sure that people will think about it more in the future. Once it happens, I don't think anyone cares anymore. But looking globally, and when we consider Google or Facebook, we can see that the buildings and the structures they built are self-sufficient. And when it comes to energy or technology, they are actually self-sufficient, and they don't have to care about it. So I think, in my opinion, this is the issue of how a particular or individual thinks that this is important. These companies actually want to involve the whole civilization and the whole territory. So they are trying to ensure such technologies and such backups. So yeah, you said it all. You're fine. We are fine. No, you said it all. Okay. I have nothing to add, actually. He said, and of course these installations are already existing underground. Bila još jedna?
It was an interaction. It was another type of interaction, I guess. Okay, thank you. Shall we go and eat? No, I think we really we had a good discussion today, and I'm really happy how all the pieces of the puzzle kind of went together quite naturally, at least from my understanding, from sitting here, and also with the translation part. So that worked very well for me. Of course, now I think that the most interactive part really would start, because now we're going to have a lunch, and after that, if you want to and can take a moment to sit down together, really to talk really about technologically, infrastructurally. That's nothing that we have touched really in depth now. but it's going to be good for you in specific groups to discuss now. So, I think we can close the plenary session, the morning session, and I thank you all very much. I'm really, really happy of being here today with WATIFY and about this cooperation that we had. Thank you very much again, and upstairs lunch is served. So enjoy the second part.